size of that ring and not having the intimacy that you sort of prefer with the fans. Did you get what you wanted even in Prime?
What I wanted and couldn't get was, this sounds silly, but I kind of wanted to go down and hug everyone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to see into the eyes of people and go down and hug them and say thank you. And suddenly the panel was over and I hadn't hugged anyone. So it's so hard to know. Probably the most truthful part of the panel was when Jessica, Anna, and then Lance actually showed the emotion that we feel. Obviously, we couldn't turn it into a tear fest, but in some ways that probably reflected more of what the emotion was.
When you look at Walter in the final season and what you hope to be able to do with him, what is it that you feel is important in the end of Walter's journey to have in the season?
Well, there's got to be a resolution of the character. There's got to be a resolution. This man created this issue through his own hubris and through his own hunger. So it makes sense to me in storytelling that there has to be a resolution to that. What does that mean? How does Walter undo a mistake? At what cost to himself? That's going to remain the teaser for all time. And I kind of don't want to know, except I know that it better be bloody good. Because otherwise head will roll, you know. Because I've invested so much in this and I'm so scared at present that every step that we take now is in the right direction. There's no side. It's going to be a really hard 6 months. Really hard. And I guess from my point of view, I'm going to probably be more cautious of every line and every government, questioning everything for that purpose, so that we continue that on. It'll be a fantastic journey, but I so hope and pray that the writers can take those arcs and go and really, and they are clever, just come in and bring them together, and everyone goes, oh, that's it. It had to be. Then you've got a great story, a really great story.
How happy were you to have Leonard Nimoy back as William Bell?
Well, as you can imagine, it's almost like it is working with a living legend. He's also a really good actor, and he's also a really good man, and he has such presence. So he gives great weight. I mean, I hope he comes back again. I don't know if he is or not, but I think he adds a lot of weight to our show as well.
As an actor, not just wanting another season, but to be able to close out a program that's meant so much to such a passionate fan base. As an actor, what did it mean to you to have that opportunity when it was like in question for
everything? It meant everything, Scott. And I was, as Josh said there, I was the one that believed it would happen. I couldn't imagine it couldn't happen. You can't do that. You can't just leave people hanging here. I mean, I know people do it. But I was at all stages optimistic and pushing for this final conclusion. It just seemed fair to me. It seemed just to do it. So it meant the world to me.
Now with the 2036, there's a new member, Walter's granddaughter. So what do you hope for that relationship in the final 13 episodes?
Well, Georgina and I have already established a lovely relationship. I had dinner with her in Australia just recently, actually. That relationship will be much more important between Anna and Georgina than anything else. But Georgina's character is not a central character. She's not one of the leads, but she's a perfect. She's what do you call it? When somebody a catalyst. She's a catalyst for the love affair between these people, between the mother and the father and the grandfather. It's really gorgeous, and I don't know if you agree with it, but I thought she wore a beautiful cloth. She was great.
And she kind of like resembles Anna in such a strong way that I was like, I am doing. I'm like, are they related? Like,
well, they're both Australian.
Fox is cloning basically Anna Torv at this point, so it's going to
as they should.
But it's not her season. I mean, Anna Torv, Olivia, is our lead. She's our heroine. She's the central focus that the show always has been. So that's perfect.
absolutely. There were sort of questions as to whether or not we would see the alternate universe again. If we don't, are you sad that you won't be able to either play Walt in it again or see how his story continues?
Oh, in my mind, I've already got it running. That's all right. I couldn't have wished for a better ending between Walt and Walt.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, the way that they wrote those final scenes was a perfect conclusion for the two men. I don't think we'll go back there. I think we'll have a consciousness of them, but we won't go back there.
Along with the different iterations of Walter, Walter himself is such a rich and complicated character. Have you ever had any role that you've come close to challenging him in the way that
Denethor in Lord of the Rings was as tough as it gets in terms of emotional stuff. Denethor was probably harder because there was no relief. And in that one, I had to literally go back myself and dig through and research and find a humanity that was broken up so badly by the time we met him. It's really hard work. But it's a stage actor, there are a lot of plays that are complicated. But nothing as much fun as Walter.
What surprised you the most about season 4? There were a lot of surprising developments last year.
Season 4, I thought, was really hard to start. I was finding it really difficult to tread the line in there without Peter, with us discovering new relationships. I mean, it was hard work. And then we turned it around, and there was a beautiful episode called Westfield where we actually finally got back together again. It was such fun. And so I thought the second half of the season was marvellous, fantastic stuff. The big finale is the separation of the two universes was very powerful, quite emotional actually. With that. So I thought it powered season 4, but it was hard work. I guess the writers continued to take risks, and that one I know. I was thinking, God, how do I do this? At the beginning of the season, a bit like I am now. How do I do this? I mean, literally, how do I play this character now? When I've got nothing to hang on to, this old recluse who sits up the back who's excessive compulsive. So I came up with a list of things, excessive compulsive behaviours, and I sent to the writers and I said, tick which of these you agree with, because that's what happens in isolation.
Which ones did they choose?
Well, for a while we chose one where he walked in straight lines, that he covered up mirrors. There was a few that we put in there. And then eventually we started to mild those away as Peter came back into the scene again. But I mean, there were some great episodes early too. There was an episode I did with a little boy. I can't remember the name of it now, little boy. That was really touching because somewhere within that eye, the Walter found this love for this little boy and understood his loneliness. And that kid was terrific too.
Is there a talisman that you really would hope you get to take away from the set that will always be like part of the name for you?
It's interesting. I don't think so. I'm not a collector of things. No, I don't know. You'll have to ask me after COVID.